Today on Investigate TV Plus, the agonizing process to uncover the source of memory loss can be invasive, expensive, and sometimes waste precious time.
One of the things that we continue to see is that for some patients, it could take years.
We examine a breakthrough test doctors say helps diagnose Alzheimer's disease, how it could slow progression, plus
we were like hugging each other. I mean, it is such magnificent steps forward.
Hear from a woman making new memories thanks to advances in research.
Then, reasonable doubt. More than 2 decades after a judge sentenced him to life for the murder of a police officer, some argue justice was not served.
This proves we're doing some things wrong.
We take an in-depth look at new evidence in this controversial case and hear from advocates compelled to fight for a convicted killer's freedom.
And it could be the lyric from a country and western song.
Do what's in your heart, because if you do what's in your heart, you don't work a day in your life.
We introduce you to a man inspired to preserve the legacy of a legendary Nashville honky-tonk.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus. New developments and hope in the fight against Alzheimer's disease. I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. The disease can be devastating for the patient and their loved ones, and there is no known cure. But experts say the FDA's first ever approval of a blood test to help diagnose Alzheimer's is a significant step in treatment.
Reporter Heather Graff takes an in-depth look at how the test works, plus why it could lead to earlier detection and perhaps one day, prevention.
We started dating when we were 17 years old. We are best friends. She's everything to me.
Brent and Kathy Rigby have always loved exploring new places together. But as it turns out, the couple was just a few miles from home, taking one of their favorite bike rides along the beach.
Very familiar.
When Kathy lost her way.
She was behind, so I stopped to wait for her.
And the familiar, in her eyes, became foreign.
When she caught up, she was just in tears. She said, "I couldn't find you." And then I knew something wasn't right.
They now know that was one of several early red flags.
I started noticing that I was stuttering. I couldn't get words from my brain to my mouth.
And after a barrage of testing,
I called it the A word.
In 2023, doctors confirmed then 68-year-old Kathy had Alzheimer's.
It was like a slap in the face and a punch in the gut, all at the same time. It's hard to have reality hit you like that.
The neurodegenerative disease is one that currently afflicts about 7 million people in the U.S., and according to the Alzheimer's Association, that number is expected to nearly double by 2060.
We're moving into an aging population in our country.
Rebecca Edelmeyer is Vice President of Scientific Engagement for the Alzheimer's Association and says one big challenge is that getting a diagnosis can be difficult. With primary care providers on the front lines not necessarily equipped for that, it can often involve referrals to specialists, pricey PET scans of the brain, and a lumbar puncture, also known as a spinal tap.
One of the things that we continue to see is that for some patients, it could take years. And we know that having an early and accurate diagnosis is so critical, especially when there's treatments that have been approved today to really help slow down the disease process.
So when the FDA in May of 2025 announced it had greenlit the first blood test to aid in diagnosing Alzheimer's, calling it a less invasive option that reduces reliance on PET scans and increases diagnosis accessibility, many in the Alzheimer's research community took notice.
It's a very, very exciting time in this field.
Using a simple blood draw, the test, known as Lumipulse, is designed to detect amyloid plaques in the brain that are considered key markers for Alzheimer's. And to better understand how it works, we went to Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine in Baltimore, where Dr. Abhay Mogekar and his team helped study and evaluate the test for FDA approval.
What were your findings? How accurate is this test?
So if this test is positive, there's a greater than 90% chance that you have amyloid plaque in your brain.
Do you consider this a breakthrough in the field?
It's absolutely a breakthrough in the field. Getting a blood test is going to be far easier, quicker and cheaper. It's going to allow early access to therapy. So it is going to revolutionize care of patients with dementia.
He says it's important to know that for now, the FDA has only cleared the blood test for use in patients 55 and older who are already experiencing memory problems. And the agency cautions this is not intended as a standalone diagnostic tool for Alzheimer's. Instead, results should be interpreted alongside a patient's medical history and in conjunction with other assessments such as cognitive testing. But eventually, Mokhagar thinks we'll get to the point where these blood biomarker tests can be used to predict whether someone's at risk of developing Alzheimer's long before a patient starts showing symptoms.
So I think we are moving towards a goal of preventing Alzheimer's disease rather than treating it once you already have the disease.
We do hope that the future holds that for us.
The Alzheimer's Association's own research has shown high public interest in that possibility. One survey revealing 4 in 5 Americans would want to know they had Alzheimer's disease before having symptoms.
We know that people are hungry for information.
In part, that's what brought the Rigbys here to Washington, D.C. for this Alzheimer's Advocacy Forum in June of 2025.
Anything we can do to help motivate, I have to.
Sharing their story because immediately after Kathy's diagnosis, she got into a clinical trial for a drug that aims to slow cognitive decline by targeting and removing amyloid plaques. In 2024, that treatment also received FDA clearance, and Kathy and Brent say she's seen remarkable results.
95% of the plaque was removed, and it'll take years for it to come back.
It was so wonderful because it did such a difference for me. Night and day, it's a blessing.
Do you feel like that's shown you guys firsthand the importance of early diagnosis with Alzheimer's?
Yes, without a doubt. But the longer you wait, the more damage is done.
And that is why Kathy considers the recently approved blood test for Alzheimer's to be another promising advancement.
Every time that we've heard one of these positives, one time we jumped up and down, and I don't jump.
In this family, they know now more than ever that memories are precious.
I just want to remember all these things. I want to be grandma, and I want them to know that I love them and I know them.
In October 2025, the FDA gave clearance to a second blood test intended to help detect or rule out Alzheimer's disease in patients. Some experts have said another reason these FDA approvals are key is because it can make it much more likely for Medicare and even private insurers to cover these testing options and thus expand access. If you have questions or want to learn more about blood-based biomarker tests for Alzheimer's, the first step is to talk to your doctor.
Still ahead, every year billions of tons of food are prepared for meals, and just as much ends up in landfills.
Food waste is such a sin because of the people that are in need.
We explore how culinary creativity turns convention center leftovers into a stew of sustainability for the community.
But first, locked up for life for a murder some argue he didn't commit.
This is the strongest post-conviction relief I've ever worked on.
We examine the original case, the twist which helped lead to a conviction, and the new evidence that could be a game changer. Imagine spending days, months, or even years locked up in a prison cell for something you didn't do.
It's the life-altering consequence of a wrongful conviction. From 1989 to the end of 2024, the National Registry of Exonerations recorded more than 3,600 wrongful convictions in the United States, and persons exonerated in 2024 alone lost an average of 13.5 years due to unjust imprisonments.
In Louisiana, a push is underway for the courts to take another look at a case involving a man serving a life sentence for the murder of a Baton Rouge police officer.
Kermit Parker was convicted after a co-defendant, who court records say was given immunity, changed his story during trial to say Parker killed the officer. Investigative reporter Chris Nakamoto takes an in-depth look at this case and why some believe the wrong man is behind bars.
Sergeant Warren Broussard was a beloved member of the Baton Rouge Police Department when he was gunned down in June of 1988. At that time, this woman vividly recalled seeing 3 suspects.
I heard a shot, and I turned around. The cop had fallen in the street, and I went. All 3 of them started running.
Initially, Baton Rouge police arrested a man named Michael Carter. Carter signed this voluntary statement that said, quote, "Kermit passed me the gun and told me to get rid of it, but the cop turned around and I had the gun still in my hand. We both froze for a moment. The gun I had went off, and the next thing I knew, the motorcycle cop was down." He was charged with murder, but the district attorney's office dropped those charges about a year later, when Carter retained a lawyer who questioned the interrogation techniques. From there, police turned their attention to the man who Carter says handed him the gun, Kermit Parker.
This is the strongest post-conviction relief I've ever worked on.
Aubrey Harris is now representing Parker. In a July 2025 filing to the Louisiana State Supreme Court, Harris argues his conviction was predicated upon material and exculpatory evidence not previously disclosed. In addition to this new evidence, the filing highlights that the murder weapon was never recovered. And while the man first accused in the killing, Michael Carter, had gunshot residue on his hands, Kermit Parker had none.
It's so many pieces of evidence. It's all the pieces of the puzzle are coming together, and it just so clearly indicates that he not only didn't do it, but also that the DA's office hid evidence from the defense.
Another piece to this puzzle involves Parker's former public defender, Mike Mitchell. Mitchell declined to be interviewed on camera, but in 2022, he signed an affidavit confirming the DA's office withheld information from him that he believes would have been helpful. Among that evidence is this letter from the FBI, telling the district attorney's office back in 2008 it could no longer substantiate the testimony their agent gave at Kermit Parker's trial about bullets used in the case. That letter was written by the feds 16 years after Parker's conviction. The FBI sent that information to the Innocence Project.
I've gotten 6 people out of prison that are now living productive lives, that were guilty, considered guilty, and our system is flawed.
Dale, I don't want to...
Former LSU basketball coach Dale Brown is known for his advocacy. During the 70s, he worked with the NAACP to attract black athletes and integrate LSU athletics. Brown has never shied away from sharing his thoughts on social issues.
This makes me sick to the stomach. This is the United States of America. We're supposed to be the greatest country in the world. This proves we're doing some things wrong.
He's now one of Parker's biggest and most notable advocates.
I'm with you today because I believe 100% he is not guilty.
Coach Brown corresponds with Parker weekly and believed in his innocence well before this new evidence came to light. Brown felt compelled to talk after Parker's most recent letter.
We are in the 4th quarter, and I can't win without my coach on the sidelines, but in the game.
What are your thoughts on that?
First time he's ever asked me to ever do anything. I think the system should be different.
District Attorney Hiller Moore was not the DA at the time of Broussard's murder or trial, but says he consulted with the prosecutor and investigator and believes Parker belongs right where he is. Moore said his office will fight any attempt to set Parker free.
We have absolutely the right person in jail for killing Sergeant Broussard.
But with all of this new information, Parker's lawyer and others believe justice warrants another review.
It's not right to just lock up an innocent man, a man who didn't do it, and throw away the key.
Michael Carter, who was initially charged with Sergeant Broussard's murder, is now 60 years old. Since he was cleared, he has not stayed out of trouble. We did some digging and found Carter's had multiple arrests and at least one conviction, most recently in April of 2022. Court records show Carter was charged with aggravated assault with a firearm and resisting an officer. He is yet to go to trial. In September of 2025, a judge ordered a competency exam. We reached out to Carter's public defender, but we have not heard back. In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I'm Chris Nakamoto.
Still to come, sticking with tradition.
It's like stepping back into the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, the heydays of country music.
We'll show you how a Nashville honky-tonk honors 3 chords and the truth.
But first, sharing excess.
Plenty of food left over. So what could we do with that food to help?
We explore a convention center sustainable solution to reduce food waste. From cost to quantities, careful planning goes into making sure everyone gets fed in the convention business. But when the event ends, safe-to-eat leftovers often get tossed.
An industry expert estimates every year in the U.S., meetings and events generate about $21 billion of food waste. It occurs in both the front of the house when people take more than they can eat, and in the kitchen where complete meals go untouched because attendance fell short.
In Charlotte, the convention center has come up with a solution to keep the excess out of the landfill. Photojournalist Greg Simpson shows us how extras end up where they're needed most.
Charlotte Convention Center, hundreds of thousands of people come through here annually, citywide events, and it's their stopping point for eating and for hosting their events here. These events that don't meet their attendance levels come. Yes, our staff eats fantastic here. There's still a surplus, plenty of food left over. So what could we do with that food to help others, or to so it's not going in the bin, so it's not going to trash. As a chef, food waste is such a sin because of the people that are in need. In 2018, brought to us this program. This was a new way to kind of upsource foods.
After realizing the number of people that are hungry, 15% are food insecure in Mecklenburg County, and the amount of food that is wasted, wanted to create a different way to carve into that percentage of food that's wasted. And I was persuaded to go to Dr. Ben Chapman at North Carolina State University, who is one of the top food safety experts in the nation. He designed standard operating procedures to be safe.
We bag it, label it, until we accumulate enough to make where it makes sense for second harvest to come.
Most of this food goes to soup kitchens. This food is great for soup kitchens because it's easy to prepare. All they have to do is heat it up and it's ready to eat. So it takes a lot of work out of their end.
The ability to have a hot meal for those individuals that don't have a home is really a big deal.
I think everyone should have enough to eat. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, everyone should be able to have food on their table.
To give them some sense of dignity.
Another solution to reduce food waste, some convention centers have turned to food trucks to offer attendees more variety, affordability, and convenient grab-and-go experience.
Up next, it was country when country wasn't cool.
We've left it alone. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
We take you to a bar in Music City where you'll find a cold beer and hot tunes. Everyone knows it as Music City, but a honky-tonk in Nashville's famous Lower Broadway district touts itself as the undisputed home of traditional country music.
Reporter Brandon Tierney checks out Robert's Western World, where they claim the music is old and the beer is cold.
The bright lights and sound of Music City can be heard up and down Lower Broadway, where high-rise honky-tonks and rooftop bars party late into the night. But under this large red boot is a classic spot.
Welcome to Robert's Western World.
Playing nothing but traditional country music.
It's a crazy life I live.
Just like they have at Robert's Western World for more than 30 years.
Have me another round.
With cans of beer starting at just $2.50.
We've left it alone. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Emily Jones and her husband, Jesse Lee, own the place and are trying to keep the legacy alive.
A time capsule when people walk in here.
That's kind of unique down here on Broadway now.
We are in a society where people are longing for something tangible. They want to know the history.
Jesse Lee is part of that history. He moved to Nashville from Brazil, searching for that sound under the neon lights. Working here for years before getting the chance to buy it.
Do what's in your heart, because if you do what's in your heart, you don't work a day in your life.
You've kept the soul of this place going. You make sure it's real country music that's played on the stage here. Why is that so important for you?
There's no TV. You come in here and it's like stepping back into the 50s and the 60s and the 70s, the heydays of country music.
Their walls are covered with the same legacy. Photos of some of country music's biggest names who've been regulars at the bar.
They just want to tuck in the crowd, have a beer, and just be human and take in the vibe.
Jesse Lee and Emily have bought the building next door and are planning to expand their Western World after being named one of USA Today's best bars in the country.
But it will still be Nashville. It will still be real. And that is what's missing nowadays, believability.
Robert's Western World is also known for the Recession Special. It's a fried bologna sandwich served with a bag of chips, moon pie, and a beer. It'll set you back just $6. Not bad. Recession Special.
All right, you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
We'll have
Looks
to go
like
on
a fun
trip.
place, right?
Yeah.
Authentic. I love the authenticity
Yes,
there.
absolutely.
All right, that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, seeing is no longer believing when it comes to artificial intelligence.
If I can get you thinking emotionally, you're not thinking rationally.
We examine how easily deep fakes can manipulate you and provide solutions to protect your family from scammers.